coming out here after 30 years, yeah, I ain't got nothing, but I'm gonna have something because I'm rich in personality, you know, and I'm rich in love. My family love me, and that's really all that counts. Hey YouTube, shout out to everybody out there on Team Banky Pound, man. Much love. Appreciate y'all, man. I appreciate how y'all been rocking with me lately, especially with these prison stories. Y'all done opened up a can of worms, man. Y'all got me thinking back to all these people that I had encounters with, all these people that I knew, these different characters, man, and all that stuff been reminiscing in my head now, man. And I just did a video today about something totally different, and it just made me think about this dude, which what I was thinking about made me think about this dude that I knew too, one of my homeboys, man, which compelled me to do this video while it's on my mind. Man, this video is gonna be about my homeboy named Martin, man. I used to call him Marty. Man, let me tell you something. This is one of the wildest dudes I met. I mean, he just had zero cut card. He didn't care. He just was in his own world, man. He was super dangerous. He was not to be played with, but he was such a tiny dude, man. Man, Marty might have weighed like 140 pounds, man, soaking wet. But the the aura around him and the danger that surrounded him, it didn't matter. He was like a giant because of his capacity to create violence, man. He just was a vicious dude because he had been through so much. From what I understand, it just had turned his heart cold, and that's how he was, man. And I remember when I first met him. On Mecklenburg, you know, and anybody who's on Mecklenburg will know who I'm talking about. And I know some of y'all out there watching me from Mecklenburg because y'all left it in my comments, but you should remember Lil Marty. And when I first met him, man, they told me, you know, that's your homeboy, man. He from DC too. Woo, woo. So I'm like, yeah, but they like, yeah, he crazy, man. That man, he crazy, man. Marty don't stay on compound no more than 5 to 6 months. It ain't nobody been around him, but he done been on population for more than 5 to 6 months, because it's gonna be some type of incident, some type of altercation, some type of violence he gonna be involved in, and he gonna be locked back up in segregation. That's just how he lived, and that's how he did his bit. Now, whether or not he wanted to stay out there or not, I don't know, but it seemed like he couldn't. And I remember when I first met him, man, I was in the hole too. I was in the hole myself, right? You know, for some type of foolishness. You know, more than likely on Mecklenburg, it was something to do with probably some gambling or something. But I was in isolation, man, and I was in the block with him, and I used to talk to him. We used to talk, you know, through the cells or whatever, because, you know, talk about the city back in DC and everything, different places, you know, how long been locked up, this, that, and the third. So he was a pretty cool dude, man, you know what I'm saying, kind of calm. He was back there for fighting, you know, that was his norm. And I used to hear him at nighttime, man. I used to just hear banging, 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 you know, thump, 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 every night, man. You know, or sometime when they come around and after they count and they leave and they ain't no police nowhere to be found, you're thump, 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 thump. So I used to be like, what in the hell is that, man? Who's doing all this banging? And sometime in Seg, where we was at this time in Mecklenburg, like I say, you in a single cell in Seg. And Mecklenburg was, like I say, the most dangerous institution in Virginia at the time. This is where they housed the people that stayed in violence, and death row. That's who was housed at Mecklenburg. So all the cells on population, single cells, obviously they single cells in segregation. But it's a small prison compared to prisons. It's small. It's only 12 cells in a block, that's, you know, like now to the modern day, it's 80, 85 cells, you know, in a normal dorm, a normal block. But on Mecklenburg, it's only 12. So that lets you know how small the population was. So it's 6 on the top, 6 on the bottom. So when it's that small, sometimes when they run a shower on shower day, you only get a shower when you in segregation like every 3 days. So when they run in a shower, they may just open your door and you got 15 minutes to go take a shower and go back to your cell, you know. So normally when they do that, you know, you're supposed to go straight to your shower and straight back, or they'll call the people, they come run in and jump on you, you know how they go, beat you up, put you back in your cell, give you another charge. But sometimes they'll work with you, depends on who in the booth, you know, you can talk, well, hold on, let me get this, let me grab that, which you don't supposed to be doing, going to somebody's cell, but it depends on who you had in there. They might let you rip and run a little bit, as long as you got back in that cell before they told you to get in there, you'll be okay. So I came out one day to go to my shower, and I stopped by Marty's cell, and I was like, man, you know, and I was gonna ask him, do you be hearing that banging at night? But when I get to his cell, I see this contraption he got made up, man. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. It's just crazy. I don't know if you're gonna be able to, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to paint this picture where y'all can understand or what, but I'm gonna try to. But people who was locked up will understand what I'm trying to say. Marty had took his sheets and twisted them up like in braids, big, to make it a big old knot of a long sheet, different, connected together. He had them wrapped around the stool that we have in there, wrapped around the bed, looped up to the bar, and tied up real tight and wetted so it could be real strong. And he did all of that so he can bang on it every day until he can break the bar out of the window so he can make a knife. I'm telling you, this man was insane with this stuff, man. He did that. He was trying to break the stuff out the window so he can make a weapon. And every day he worked on it till he got exhausted. And that's when he got exhausted, he laid down and went to sleep. And when in the daytime he had that tied up and they come around, he'd make it out like he'd have made a hammock, like he sat down in the hammock and stuff. But all the time, he was just trying to break a part of the window out so he could have a weapon for when he go back out on the yard. Or if the police wanted to run in there and jump on him, he wanted to be able to protect himself. That's how he lived. That was his mentality. You see what I'm saying? So these are the type of cats you dealing with when you in prison. You may run across. So all you young dudes out there that think you tough out here on these streets slinging these guns, that's the type of cat you gonna run into in prison. And trust me, it ain't gonna end well. Not for you. I'm telling you, man. This dude was a menace. I mean, a real live menace. So like I say, this is just giving you a little background on, I mean, the things that he did, the stories I heard about him, and by me talking to him, I know most of them are true. It's just, it'll put you in a frame of mind like you, especially y'all out here listening, y'all not being in that world of prison, y'all would probably say, man, this dude is insane. And I was in there with him, and I'm telling you, I believe he was insane. You know, he just was like that. And he had this thing about these, women, man, these officers, man, by you being locked up. You know, a lot of cats do, a lot of them. They get, you know, they're without a woman. So they get obsessed with these female guards or counselors or secretary, anybody that they see, they may develop a certain type of, you know, affection for, because that's the only women that you're around. So they might develop that. But Marty, he took it to another level. It's like he developed like obsessions for the women. If he like her or start liking her or she talked to him, you know, he would take it like, well, she like me, you know, but she may just be friendly. She may be scared of him because she know about him. Everybody on the compound know about him. When you got a reputation for doing things like he do, they're gonna be made aware of you. So they're gonna know who you are. So she may have been scared of him, but anytime any woman talked nice to him or smiled at him or always was polite to him, and he'll take a liking to him. And then that means whoever else tried to talk to her or he thought she liked, that became his enemy. You know what I'm saying? That became his enemy. And they say, man, one time, man, this one particular female, especially on Mecklenburg back in the day, and let me tell you something, let me pause this for a second because I want to say this too. I think it needs to be said because I know people out there watching it was on Mecklenburg. But I would say this too, and this is no disrespect, this is just true facts. most women in prison, man, I'm telling you, they're not the type of women that you would just go out looking for, that you would say, oh, that's, you know, super fine or whatever. I mean, that's just facts. But on Mecklenburg, back in the day, they had probably, all in all, with the prisons I've been on, especially back then, they had some really nice looking women on there back in the day. Women that you would not have expected to be working in prison. Let's just put it that way. So this one particular woman, everybody seemed to have a crush on this woman. I ain't gonna call her name out because this is true stuff I'm talking here. This ain't made up stuff, so I ain't gonna call her name out because she probably got a life and doing whatever she's doing beyond this prison. But I will use her initials so everybody would know who I'm talking about, who been there, who been in these situations. But FN, that was the person that he had an obsession with. And she used to do a lot of flirting with dudes as well too. And she done had dudes on them compounds, I mean, try to kill each other over her, which neither one of them end up having her. But this is the foolishness that men get into when they in prison, because their mind is already so messed up because of the conditions and the situations that they're in, that they're not thinking straight anyway. So you're actually trying to kill each other over something that neither one of you can have, you know. But you don't look at it that way when you're actually in that environment, man. You just lost. You in another world. I tell people all the time, prison is like a microcosm of the real world. You're actually living in a world within a world when you're in prison, because the outside world don't really exist to you. It's not your reality anymore, you know. So dudes get into things in there, man, that they would never get into out here on the street. But it's just amazing, man. But this one particular female, man, a lot of dudes used to get obsessed with her, made dudes get in fights over her, knife fights and everything over her. And the rumor is, I say rumor, but the rumor is another one of our homeboys liked this female as well, this female officer named FN, and Marty liked her too. And Marty got wind that he was trying to, you know, get at her or talk to her or whatever. So when he went out on the yard one day to go to rec, Marty goes to his cell and put baby oil all over his cell, all over everything in his cell, TV, clothes, and everything, and throw a match in there and set his cell on fire. Burn everything in his cell. Burns his whole cell up, man. Set the man whole cell on fire because he liked the same female officer that he did. And not only did he set his cell on fire, he went up to the bars first and had tied sheets. Sheets seemed to be his thing. He had tied sheets and stuff around the side door that you got to open to get in the block, and tied it up in big bulky knots so that the officers would have problems trying to get in the block to put the fire out. And it would take them a time to do it. They would have to go get some to cut these sheets and get them loose before the door could actually open. He had blocked the entryway to get in by tying up the bars, set the man's cell on fire, goes up to the booth where the female is actually working in the booth, and sprays baby oil all on the booth and sets the booth on fire too, and calls her all types of names, derogatory names, and cusses her out for messing around with dude, for playing with him, playing with his emotions and feelings. Yeah, this is what's going on in prison. While y'all sitting out here in the real world, this is what's going on, man. Insanity. That's how, and he couldn't have it, but that's just his mentality. And he set all of that on fire, man. And it just was crazy, man. And this is, like I say, some of the things that goes on in prison with certain individuals. Marty was just off the chain like that, man. He didn't care. He knew it's going to be repercussions. He knew he was going to have to deal with the police. He's going to the hole. He's probably going to have to fight. He's going to fight. And see, that's another thing. When the police come to get you, they got a mean team up there. I think they started that in Mecklenburg. If I'm not mistaken, they started that TAC team in Mecklenburg. And the TAC team is a bunch of officers, usually the biggest officers they got on the compound, 250, 300-pound dudes, 6'4", 6'5". And not only that, they're going to have combat boots on. They're going to have shields in front of them. They're going to have vests on. This, I guess they bulletproof vests or impenetrable vests. Gloves, nightsticks, all of this to come get one guy. That's how they coming to get you when you know, acting up or going crazy or producing some type of violence. They coming to get you like that, probably 15, 20 deep for one dude. You know what I'm saying? That's how they gonna jump on you, because they're gonna try to ensure or put the odds in their favor that they don't get hurt and you do. So this is the dilemma that you're in, because if they're coming to get you, you're gonna do one or two things. You will either fight back to try to eliminate. My philosophy is, I'm fighting back to try to eliminate the hurt that they're gonna put on me. Because if I fight back, I probably can stop myself from getting hurt as worse as I probably would if I just lay down. Because even if you just lay down, they doing you in there just like what you see out here on the news when they be beating up dudes, the police be beating up people on the street and they holler, stop resisting, stop resisting, when you ain't doing nothing. But how can you say stop resisting when you twisting my arm all the way to the back of the top of my head and I'm trying to, you know, ease the pain by pushing back, so now I'm resisting. So I was just supposed to let you break my arm. So it's just a catch-22. So my philosophy was always, when they come to get me, you gonna have to fight, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm gonna fight until, you know, you submit me. I'm not gonna just submit, because if I'm gonna get hurt, I might as well get hurt trying to fight back. That's just me, you know. Other people see it different. They lay down and just take the whooping. But, you know, anyway, so Marty knew that he was gonna have to fight, and he always fought, you know. And sometimes, like I say, most of the time he got hurt because he's such a small dude. But you always gotta set the example and let the police know that you just not gonna do anything to me. And they know when you come and get certain individuals like him, they know they got their work cut out for them. They know they gonna probably get hurt as well, because he's probably gonna have a weapon, because he's already small, but he's already super violent. And he's gonna have a weapon and he's gonna fight back. He's not gonna just lay down and let you do nothing to him. So I know they came in, they supposed to got him, they whooped him, and they hurt him. And I know one time, man, he told me about this incident as well, that they ran in on him one time in segregation, and he had that knife on him, and he ended up stabbing one of the officers in the hand. And he said they beat him up real bad after that, man. They broke his arm, and it was the winter time, man, and they had snow on the ground out there, and it was snowing real bad, and they broke his arm. And they left him in the cell with a broken arm. And they were so mad that he had stabbed the officer that they also came in his cell and broke the windows out of his cell so it would be ultra cold in there. We got thin blanket. The blanket that we have in there, one blanket, one sheet. And the blanket that we have in there is probably the thickness of the sheets that we have out here on the street. So really, you got nothing. Dudes used to sleep in there in their state coat, the sweatpants, long johns, and everything, just trying to you know what I'm saying, to be warm. Yeah, we was really, truly living like savages in there, because that's just, you know, it's unbelievable some of the things we had to go through. But yeah, he told me, man, they broke his arm and they bust the window out, man, and left him in there, man, for 3 days before they took him to medical. And by then he had caught pneumonia and almost died, man. That's the cruelty of them. And when you do something to one of them, that's how much of lack of humanity that they have for you, you know. So it's just crazy, man. Yeah, I remember that story, man. But this is what's even more crazy, the irony of that. The dude that he ended up stabbing in the hand, the CO, that exact same CO is a warden now. He is a warden somewhere in Virginia prison. So people who watching this from Mecklenburg, you know who I'm talking about. You know, yeah, he's an actual warden now, and he is also a piece of garbage. Yeah, I ran across him too. But anyway, yeah, man. But those, you know what I'm saying? That's the type of lifestyle that he was living. These are some of the type of lifestyles the dudes got to live in prison, man. And it's crazy, man. But once you start out in a certain path in prison, that's your path. That's what you got to do. You know, if you start out violent, if you start out a touch off, you start out being rough and tough, you're gonna have to carry that with you your entire sentence. You know, because that's how people gonna perceive you. That's how they coming at you. That's how they gonna deal with you. So yeah, but Marty, he stayed in stuff, man. He stayed in stuff, and they kept him in there, man. I don't know. Marty has definitely did double. I don't even know if he's still locked up, but I know he's definitely did double-digit numbers in isolation and segregation. You know, he did double-digit numbers in segregation when I met him. You know, he had did more time in SEG than he did out on population. And he only got on population one time while I was around on Mecklenburg. Only one time. And he ain't stay out there then for, I think like 3 months. 3 months then, and he busted dude in the head. Busted dude in the head with a lock and a sock. The dude was trained to go. He was not playing. He would light you up, man. Straight up for the smallest thing. The smallest thing. So anyway, I ended up leaving Mecklenburg. I stayed there for a couple of years. I ended up leaving. That's, like I say, that's more or less a disciplinary institution. That's where you go when you've been getting in trouble. You know, I was coming down. I wasn't getting in trouble no more. I did the things that I had to do to establish who I was going to be in prison, that I was not going to be taken advantage of, that I was not going to be, you know, a sucker. That's what landed me on Mecklenburg. But now I was trying to get myself together. So I ended up going to a lower institution after a couple of years. And crazy enough though, Mecklenburg was starting to shut down later on. It's transitioning into another type of institution because they was building all these other institutions and stuff. So years later, man, I'm on Greensville, and oh man, coincidentally, I'm in the hole myself for fighting, you know, and Marty is on Greensville in segregation. They have transferred him from segregation to segregation to segregation because he's just getting in so much trouble on every institution he's on, and they don't want him. So he is in Greensville segregation, which was built at the time. Greensville is the biggest institution in it's the biggest institution in Virginia, you know. So they got a whole building that's just segregation. So a lot of people was there in SEG. So I'm back there in SEG. Marty is back there in SEG. So I see him, and I hadn't seen him for years, man. And it was just, I was like, oh man, what's up, homeboy, woo, woo, woo. And first thing I noticed when I seen him, he had a missing tooth in front. And he did not have that, you know, all the times that I knew him. So I was like, hey, and I didn't want to really ask about it because, you know, that's something you just don't, man, what happened to you? You know, so I didn't. But when we went out on the yard and we in cages, man, like animals. You in cages when you're in SEG. You go out on the yard, you're in one little small block cage, man, like an animal. You know, and even at one point in time, they start trying to make you wear a leash. They start trying to make you wear a leash on you to walk you from SEG to the rec yard. And man, it was going on for a little while, man. And I only ended up being in segregation one time when they had started that foolishness, and I refused to go to rec because I won't let you put no leash on me like I was a dog or something. So yeah, that's just the dehumanization process that they do to you while you in prison, man. They try to dehumanize you, demasculate you, and you know what would be the point of putting a leash on me if I'm already in handcuffs and shackles? What would be the point? But that's what they was doing. But yeah, so we went to SEG, man, and we went into a cage at this time. So I'm in a cage, but it's like 30, 40 cages side by side. So they bring you out there one at a time. They lock you in the cage, take the handcuff shackles off you, lock you in the cage, go get another person, And there's so many cages out there. By the time they get to the last cage, then they start back at the first cage and start taking you back in because your time is up. You know, crazy system, but this is how it works. But me and Marty end up out there in SEG on the yard and on the cage, and I was talking to him and everything. And he was like, yeah, homie, yeah, man, where you been? And we exchanging like where we been since we last seen each other or whatever. And he was like, man, you see my teeth, don't you? I said, yeah, man, I noticed that, man, what happened? He was like, yeah, the police on another institution had ran down on him, man, and they had him down on the ground, and he was cuffed up and everything, and they was mad because he had stabbed one of them, so they kicked him in the mouth and knocked his teeth out, man, while he was shackled and handcuffed on the ground, you know. And see, you could say that, you could look at it both ways. You could say because, you know, the way I'm telling you how he was ultra violent, but you can also look at it like, look at what they're doing to him. So now he's in a box. He has no other way to be then like that because this is what's happening to him. And that stuff happens to you, and that hardens your heart because these are the police. These is what these people doing. They're gonna advantage take you. They're gonna hurt you when they have the opportunity. So what recourse do he have? What do he do? You know, so it's a catch-22, man. But you sitting there losing things like your teeth and stuff like that, you can't get that back, man. That's gone for life. You know, so that made him even more menacing. So he was like, man, yeah, I hate these. And I'm like, man, Marty, man, you gotta chill out, bro. Is you trying to ever get out on the street? He was like, I don't care. You know what I'm saying? I don't care. He said, I just hate these police and the way they do me and what they did to me. I ain't gonna never like them. And I'm gonna try to hurt one of them every chance I get. So I was like, wow. And then, see, that's another thing. Then you got these dudes. He was back there at the time. He's talking about dudes that's arguing with him on the gate, talking about, yeah, when I catch you, I'm gonna do this to you, I'm gonna do that to you, because they didn't got the argument by talking. Somebody might feel like you over talking them or whatever, and they may say something slick to you, but you behind, you know, a door, you in a cell locked in and you can't get to the person. We call that cell gangster. You know, you a cell gangster, but they be like, well, you know, be like that when you see me in person. So you basically have picked a beef with somebody because of voices. And then when you see this person on population or you get somewhere with them in person, then it's something going to happen behind some words, you know. So that's what usually happens. And it's just a system that's designed for us to fight each other and to kill each other and to hurt each other while everybody else just sit back and watch. So people get involved in those type of altercations just because of words, man. And it's sad. It's a sad situation, but you cannot see it like that when you are actually in the midst of it. So yeah, he was like, these dudes talking that stuff, and I'm saying to myself, boy, y'all don't know what y'all getting yourself into. Y'all don't have a clue what type of animal you dealing with. Yeah, man, y'all better leave this boy alone, man. He's gonna hurt you for real. He's not just talking to be talking. He is serious. This dude is dangerous. But you'll get people and they get behind them gates, man, and they, I do this, I do that to you, trying to scare you, you know. But you could be dealing with somebody, man, cut from a different cloth, man. And I was like, oh, man, Marty, man, don't pay them dudes no mind. Woo. He was like, man, shh. Nah, they done talk too much. If I catch one of them, I see one of them, I'm gonna light them up. I'm gonna light them up. He said, all I'm trying to do is put a face to their voice now. When they come out, he said, I'm gonna light them up. And he, true to his word, man, he gonna get one of them, you know. And I ended up getting out of segregation, man, a week or two later. And sure enough, man, it wasn't about a month or two later. And I heard somebody back there in segregation that got stabbed, man. Marty had found a way to make a knife. Man, that man can make a knife out of anything. Anything. I'm serious, man. I heard him tell me one day when we was in Seg, I don't know how true it was, I didn't want to see it or whatever, but he said he know how to make a knife out of a tater chip bag. I said, what? He said he knew how to make a tater chip bag into a weapon where he can get it hard enough where it can penetrate the skin. And I was like, man, Marty, you is crazy, man. And he just sit back and thought about things like that. Thought about ways to make weapons. Thought about ways to hurt somebody. Thought about ways to defend himself. And that's just what the life that he was living, man. And it's just crazy. But like I say, you have dudes like that in there. You have dudes like that who have been conditioned by their environment and by the things they have experienced just to be that way. Whereas today locked in, he's not thinking about society. He's thinking about the here, the now, and the environment and the life that he's living. And man, yeah, he was out there, man. So I hope and pray. I don't know where he's at. I hope and pray that he's alright. I hope and pray he's still alive, man. And I hope and pray that he get to get out one day and be with his family, man, and try to get his life together, man. But yeah, that's just one of the characters, man. My crazy homeboy Marty, man. He's one of the characters that I ran into in prison. And I wanted to tell y'all that story because what I was thinking about this morning made me think about him. And I wanted to get that out while it was still fresh in my brain, man. And there's a lot more stories I know about Marty, man, that I can tell y'all, man. But I'm gonna wrap this up, man, because like I say, man, I'm praying for Marty, man, and everybody that's like him. But again, too, man, like I say, man, in every lesson there's a blessing, man. And the blessing is, man, that, like I say, I'm telling this story to you so y'all can tell your young nephews, your son, the youngins in your hood that you know, and it's out there acting wild. this is the type of life you might have to live if you continue to do what you're doing out here. This is the type of people you may have to be dealing with. And this ain't like out here on the street where you got a problem or you got a dude out here that you trying to avoid and you can go from one neighborhood to the other neighborhood, or you can just go across town, or you can just leave the state. Nah, when you in that prison world, you gonna run into these type of people and you cannot get away from them. So if you willing to live like this, and like I told y'all, just listen to the things I've said. Not just the Marty and how he lived, but look at the police and the conditions that you living in. Conditions that you living in. Man, in the wintertime, man, we back there in them cells, man, it's like you sleeping on a block of ice. You know, and in the summertime, it's so hot you want to pull your skin off. But this is life in prison. This is life in prison, and no one cares. You know, so just think about that, man. When you out here and you living like you living, man, and you got this freedom, man, you got to remember, man, it's worse days on the other side, man. Every day is worse on the other side. So be grateful, be thankful, be humble, man, and be smart, man, and, you know, try to, you know, do better, man. But I ain't gonna preach. I'm just letting you know, I hope y'all appreciate this story, man. I hope y'all got something out of it. Y'all hit me back in the comments. Let me know what y'all think about my crazy homeboy. And y'all pray for him, man. And I'm going to do the same. I hope he all right. Shout out Marty. You know, shout out Mecklenburg, man. That was a dangerous place, man. But it taught me a lot of lessons, man. A lot of lessons moving forward in my bit, man, that I gained from Mecklenburg, man. So, y'all be safe out there, be smart, man, make good decisions, man, and y'all come back and rock with me, man. We got some more stories coming. I appreciate y'all, Team Banky Pound. I love y'all, man, the family members. I love y'all. Y'all stay safe out there, man. Enjoy yourself, man. Peace.
The Banky special.
Yeah.
Pure deliciousness.
Pure deliciousness, man.
My name is Banky, man. Everybody calls me Banky. That's the name that I got from my grandmother when I was young. I'm coming out here after 30 years. Yeah, I ain't got nothing, but I'm gonna have something because I'm rich in personality, you know, and I'm rich in love. My family love me, and that's really all that counts.